Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are on page 121. And today we're actually not learning something new. We're going to be practicing two things we've already learned. So our objective today is, today I will use the area model and the distributive property to multiply. Okay, so that's our goal today. Today I will use the area model, which we've learned, and distributive property, which we just learned, to multiply. So they give us a kind of a reminder here of what the area model looks like. If you need to know the steps for the area model, you could turn back in your book, if you need to actually look at the steps, to page 113, if you need to see the steps of that. And then they also explain what the distributive property is, and if you need to look back for that, you could find it on page 117. Okay, because they're not giving us new steps today. It just says we're going to decide which strategy to use, and then we're going to solve. So you can go back and you can look at some examples of how to do those if you need to. Okay, so friends, I'm going to get started on mine. And because this lesson is about us practicing both, I want to make sure we're actually practicing both methods. So my directions say multiply using an area model or the distributive property. I think on my first one, I'm going to use an area model. So when I did an area model, I found my greatest factor. And what I did with my greatest factor is I put it in expanded form. Okay, so here's my area model. And I take my greatest factor and I put it in expanded form, which would be 30 plus 3. And we did something called proportionally, where I want the 30 section to be a little bit larger. And then I take my next factor and I also put it in expanded form, which would be 20 plus 8. And I try to make that proportional too. So I gave the 20 a bigger section. Okay, once that's done, then I actually solve for my partial products inside. So in this box, what I would have would be 20 times 30. Well, that zero trick we talked about is 2 times 3 is 6, plus my 2 zeros is 600. In this box, I would have 20 times 3. So 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 zero would give me 60. In this box, I would have 8 times 30. So 8 times 3 is 24, and 1 zero is 240. And in this box, I would have 8 times 3, which is 24. So these are called my partial products. And then what I would do to get my final product is I would add them. And when I add them, I do try and usually do least to greatest. So I get 4. 4 plus 6 is 10, plus 2 is 12. 1 plus 6 is 7, plus 2 is 9. So I get 924, and that's my final product. So this is just kind of a refresher of the area model. Okay, if I was to do the distributive property on this one is different. So this is why I wanted to show you the distributive property. Because when we did the distributive property, we always had a 2-digit by a 2-digit. So this one's going to look a little different, but I still can do it. So in the distributive property, I always wrote my problem first on top. And then what I did was I decomposed this. Now, when we did it last time, it was a 2-digit, but I can still decompose this into 400 plus 90 plus 3 times 7. Okay, my second step last time was to decompose this factor, but I can't decompose it. That's all I can do. So what I would do now is I would use my distributive property and I'd pass out. It's going to look a little different this time though. when I go to pass out, I would pass out the 400 to the 7 like we had done. So I get 400 times 7 plus, there's nowhere else to pass out my 400 to because I don't have anything else over here. So then I would just go to my next number and I would say 90 times 7. And there's nowhere else for my 90 to go either. So then I would just go on to my next number and say 3 times 7. So I really wanted to show you how this one looks different. Okay, so now that I have that, I could use my zero trick, and I have 4 times 7 is 28, plus my 2 zeros is 2,800, plus 9 times 7 is 63, plus 1 0 would be 630, plus 3 times 7 is 21. So these are my 3 partial products, and I need to add them up. So let's write them vertically. And I get 1, 5, 8 plus 6 is 14. So I get 3,451. So even though this looked different than what we did, I still followed the same steps. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do some of these together. If you could open your book, please, to page 122. And here is our first one. Okay, and we're going to use, for this one, we're going to actually use the distributive property because I want to show you all different ways and then you can attack how you'd like to. So if we use the distributive property for this one, let's start by writing our problem in the center. Okay, and remember we're going to first decompose this. So we get 50 plus 2 times 38. And then let's decompose this one. So we get 50 plus 2 times 30 plus 8. And then let's get this actual distributing. So we have 50 we're going to pass out to the 30. So 50 times 30. Then let's pass out the 50 to the 8. Plus 50 times 8 plus, and there's nowhere else for the 50 to go. So now let's do 2 times 30 plus 2 times 8. Okay, so now we can solve using that zero trick, which makes life pretty easy, or easier. 5 times 3 is 15, and add your 2 zeros. 5 times 8 is 40, and add your 1 0. Plus 2 times 3 is 6, and add your 1 0. Plus 2 times 8 is 16. So we have 4 partial products. So let's come over up here, and I'm going to move up where I have a little bit of room to add them. And I have 1,500 plus 400 plus 60 plus 16. So I get 6, 7, 9, 1. So my answer is, or my product is 1,976. Okay, let's look at our next one. So this is a 3-digit by a 1-digit. Now in my example, I did that using the distributive property, but I want you to see how that can be done using the area model. So I'm going to draw my area model. When you draw your area model, you might want to make this a little bit more rectangular than we have in the past, a little wider. Okay, so step 1 is I'm going to decompose my largest factor. So I get 300 plus 20 plus 6. And we're going to kind of make those the best we can proportional. So I gave this a little bit bigger than the 6, and the 6 is the smallest. Okay, then my 4 is my next one, but I can't decompose it, so it's just 4. So I'm only going to have 3 boxes. So what do we have? We have 4 times 300, which is 4 times 3 is 12, and add your 2 zeros. Then we have 4 times 20. So 4 times 2 is 8, and add 1 zero. And then we have 4 times 6, which is 24. So we have 3 partial products, 1,280 and 24. So let's add them. We get 4, 0 plus 8 plus 2 is 10, 3, 1. So I'm getting 1,304. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, when you turn the page and you continue to work, I don't want you to say, oh, I love area model, so it's all I'm going to practice. Or I love the distributive property, so it's all I'm going to practice. I want you to mix it up. This whole lesson is about practicing both types, so make sure you do what I did and what we did together. Mix it up. So on each page, I want you to have at least one of each kind. Okay, have a great day. Bye-bye.